Overall, disappointing, obviously. Can't, turn the ball over. You turn the ball over like that, it's going to be hard to win football games. I thought our defense played, pretty darn good, kept us in it, but obviously wasn't good enough to get it done today. Until I say otherwise, right now, Joe's our guy right now. Obviously, just a guy that's a veteran guy. Obviously, we've had 2 games that, that he'd like to have back, but we'll keep battling through it and see where it goes. Yeah, I mean, shoot, we got to give him something to cheer about. Obviously, when you're not moving the ball, we got to be better. We got to go back and freaking get it cleaned up. We've got a lot of football left. Obviously, got a big one coming up against the Jets. So we'll get it cleaned up tomorrow, come back into work, and that's what we got to do.
And the best way to do that is just go back to work. We have the ability to do what we want. We're just making too many mistakes. And when you do get into a little rut like this, then yeah, it can be tough mentally. But you got to just do all you can to kind of put that aside and go do your job. No, I'm just out there playing, and that's my job on Sundays, is to just go out there and play and continue to be optimistic that we can make the most of this, make the most of the chance. I mean, look, our defense kept us in that game for most of the day. They got some turnovers themselves, and most of the time there it was, within a one score, within a 2-score game. So.
Well, that was the first play of the game, and I was just doing my assignment. Whenever I see that type of play action, I go straight to the sideline. So I look and see where the receiver is, where's my target, and he threw it to the same guy. So by the time I look back, the ball was already in the air, and I had to think fast. So unlucky, wanted to score that one, but I think I was just running too fast with that.
Ken, it seems like in the last few games, when the offense does turn over, you guys seem to always make a big play or make up for it with the turnover on defense. How much does that just engage you guys and fire you guys up if something like that happens?
And what happened?
When the offense turns the ball over, it seems like the last couple of games you guys have been able to make up for that and then force a turnover.
Well, I mean, it's just our job to help the offense as best as possible. We don't want the narrative to be, offense did this, and then we let them just go down and score. Our job is to put the offense in the best position as possible to win. And, we just got to, whenever our back is against the wall, we want to, make a play and stand up as a defense.
Kenny, what's been most frustrating about this 3-game skid from your point of view?
Not winning, period.
Jonathan said you guys have, you've had good weeks of practice. Everyone's putting in high effort, and for whatever reason, it's just not translating to game days. Like, are you seeing that same thing? Like, everything looks really positive in the week?
I mean, I don't think everybody is working as hard as possible, and obviously it's showing. I'm not the type to sugarcoat it, honestly. If I don't think the urgency is there. I don't think the details are there, so I don't think the effort is there, and I don't see everything correlating from meetings to practice to the games, and it shows.
As one of the leaders of the team, what do you do to kind of get things sparked for everybody?
You got to define yourself. You got to define the identity of the team. We got to look ourselves in the mirror and ask ourselves how bad we want it. And honestly, just change, turn in the page whenever we look at the corrections and everything tomorrow. And I think the thing that's, back to your question, the thing that's frustrating is you letting things leak into another week. Whatever it was last week, you're as great as your last performance. But once we step out on the field again, you got the opportunity to, change that narrative. So, but to go out and, do the same mistakes over and over is, I think that's what drives me insane as a player. Individually, that's what drives me insane because, at the beginning of the season, we all said that, week 1 is going to be week 1. September is going to be September, but we got to do our best to be better as the season progresses. And we are in November, and I just don't see us making that jump, from September to November. I'm saying the same thing. So I think a lot of things, we just got to start addressing it and not sugarcoat or beat around the bush. I think that's what we are lacking. And honestly, it just, year to year, it's the same thing.
Kenny,
Really, it's going to come down to us. One, definitely in practice. You got to be able to first visualize it in practice. Then you got to go execute it at practice. But then whatever you need to do to make it translate over to Sunday, whether that's extra film or whether that's more visualization or whether that's just self-taught, whatever it is, you got to get it to transfer over to Sunday. But it starts first at the beginning of the week, starting tomorrow.
Can you guys hear when it's not going well, when the crowd boos? Do you hear that? And do you understand it, or you?
Okay, no, I heard it. I didn't know what they. So you think that was us? That was probably. I don't know. I heard it. I'm like, dang, they booing.
Just because the offense not getting enough.
Yeah, okay, but that makes sense. You're like, man, like we're not doing anything. Okay, I get it. I heard that, and I wasn't quite. I'm like, is that us or is that them at the defense coming out? Well, but hopefully it wasn't us because that was something for sure. Sheesh.
Joe, obviously just getting used to him still. How have you guys been able to adapt and just sort of get used to his style out there now, a few games in?
First, like I said, it starts in practice. So we get a ton of looks in practice. So just being able to know, okay, certain schemes that we have up, where is he looking first? Let's say things break down. Is he looking down the field? Is he looking, a few yards down the field? So just being able to keep those things in mind and then knowing and understanding that on Sundays, like, okay, I remember this scheme in practice. It's breaking down. Okay, I know kind of what Joe is thinking, or you have an idea of what he may be thinking. And that's something that we just got to continue to do, continue to build that chemistry, that relationship, not only myself, but everybody on the offense.
What's the big message to this group? Obviously, three straight losses. You guys lost 3 last year and then won 4 straight after that. What's the message to this group?
Stay the course, like you mentioned. Then we won 4 straight. It's definitely tough to do, but you can definitely go on a heater, But everyone has to be on one page, one accord throughout the entire week, and then Sunday, we just got to come out with a win. Like I said, whatever it takes for us to execute those plays in critical times, that's what's going to allow us to go on another 4-game win streak.
What's been most frustrating about this 3-game skid?
Really, because you have the pieces. You just look at it and you're like, we have the guys, we have the pieces, we have the guys that work. It's one thing to have the pieces, and then now have the guys that work. We have the guys that work each and every single day, every time they come in that building. So you just wanted to translate on Sundays. And it's a fine line, a couple plays here and there. It's a game of inches.
So when you say you have the pieces and the guys are working, and when it goes to practice, I guess what needs to be different in practice? Because it doesn't sound like a work effort for him.
Exactly. That's why whatever you got to do to get it to translate to Sunday, you have to do whatever you personally have to do to get it to translate to Sunday. To make those same plays you made in practice, that's what you have to do. You have to give it everything you have every Sunday.
JT, AD has a career day today. Obviously, rough start to him for the season, but just how have you seen him just grow over the course of this year?
Yeah, I've seen him throughout the course of this year. Even at practice, his releases, his routes that he runs, it's like you can see it. You just like every time he releases off the ball, you're like, oh, you see that move right there? So I'm glad that, of course, he had a career day today. I wish it would have followed up with a win, but I'm excited to see him to continue to grow and build on a day like today.
Good, he scores on his birthday too. How cool is that?
Yeah, that was awesome. I was actually excited. We called that play. I'm like, this got to be a touchdown. Like, this has to be a touchdown. What's a better birthday gift than a touchdown, except, of course, a win?
How big is the adjustment in pass protection between two vastly different starters, and Anthony and Joe? How different does pass protection become in that instance?
Well, definitely you don't know where your defender is going to go. Especially if you got a mobile guy back there, he starts rolling out. You can't see him rolling out, so now you're setting up one way, and then your guy either dips inside or dips outside. So that's something you definitely have to be aware of and realize, like, hey, this guy can change his trajectory at any time, depending on what the guy behind me does.
Just help yourself get better. But I'd say I grew a lot. Just credit to, the guys around me and obviously my receiver coach. And, they like, we all push each other and we all force each other to get better and grow.
Do you feel that first touchdown is going to be here before we know it?
So we'll see.
How did the first just drive kind of set you guys back and really put you guys behind the 8 ball as you tried to navigate this game?
One more time?
How did the first drive, just the pick 6, kind of just set you back and set the tone in a negative way for you guys today?
Things happen. Coach always talks about fighting through adversity and just facing adversity. Things aren't going to always be perfect, but at the end of the day, that was the first drive of the game. It was a lot of ball left to play, and it was all about just shaking back, really, just taking advantage of opportunities when they came, and when the play is called, all 11 on the same page and everybody able to execute.